So remember how I said that the Ishbel was going to be my Christmas traveling shawl? No, I finished it in 2 days, which is kind of nuts, but I guess I was on a roll. So this is how it came out. I had some problems blocking the bottom. I don't know if it's just like a little bit not loose enough or if it's something in the pattern. So it's this funny little sort of stubbly thing, but I really like it. The yarn is super soft. The yellow is bright. Really happy with that, how that came out. I'm actually knitting a second one now for a friend. Before I left for Cambridge for Christmas, I still hadn't gotten the extra yarn for my red shawl, so I started a pair of socks instead. It's this pattern that I've seen on a Swedish Facebook group for knitters for ages. It's called sylta, which apparently is like Finno-Swedish slang for scrunching up your socks. So I really wanted to try that, and I started it and I brought it to Cambridge, and my mom saw it and said that she'd really like some leg warmers sort of like that, and I'm all about taking the easy way out, so I just didn't make socks, I just made leg warmers. And I'll insert a picture here because I don't have them, because I finished them and left them with my mom, who was really happy with them. I don't know if I want to make a pair of socks in that actual pattern. I probably will, because I really like what happened to the variegated yarn in that pattern, so I want to maybe make something fun for myself like that. While we were in Cambridge, we took this really long walk to somewhere, I forget what it's called, but we went to a local yarn store. My mom wanted to go to a craft store, and I went to a local yarn store called the Sheep Shop. And I really like, when I travel, getting locally dyed or spun yarns, so there's a lot of really lovely yarn there. But I picked up these two skeins from a company called Sparkle Duck. There's a sparkly duck on the label. This yarn is called Spirit, and these two colors are Louder, and they might be pomegranates, which is a hilarious name. And actually I took a picture of my stash for like the beginning of 2013, and it's on my blog, I'll link it. And after I'd put everything back in boxes and stowed it away, I discovered that these two skeins were still out in my hallway, so they didn't get included. So it's a slightly dishonest picture, but I'm telling you now. Also for Christmas, my husband got me this book, which is a Swedish translation of a book that originally is called The Knitter's Stitch Collection, a creative guide to 300 knitting stitches you really need to know. And we were in a bookstore picking up a present for my dad when I saw this, and I said that I wanted it, and my husband is no fool, so he went back and got it and gave it to me for Christmas. And I really like this because it has just like, basically it's just like swatches of knitting patterns and knitting stitches. So, and it's lace and cabling and all sorts of different patterns. And I kind of want to design something this year. It's one of my sort of crafty resolutions, so I figured this book would be a good step to getting there. When I got home, actually before we even left, I got the little post notice saying that my yarn had arrived, but I didn't have time to go pick it up before we had to leave for the airport. But when we got back, I finally picked up the rest of the yarn, and I finished this shawl before the new year. But then the bind off turned out, when I blocked it, it turned out that the bind off was a little bit too tight, so it didn't quite block out. So a couple of days ago we watched the Avengers, which, if you don't know, is over 2 hours long, and took me pretty much all of the Avengers to undo the bind off and redo it, more stretchy, but I finished it. So again, this is the Green River Shawl in Woolmeister's Troublume. It's huge. It's huge. And it's so lovely. Part of me was kind of hoping, wondering if there was any way I could like really softly block it, because I kind of liked the way it scrunched up in these sort of flowy things here. But I really like the way it came out when blocked, and it's really nice and soft. But again, it was huge. My blocking mats almost weren't enough, so I had to use a blocking wire for some of the points where I sort of ran out of mat at the edges. But I am super happy with that. Really recommend the pattern. It's really easy to do. I think if you're not quite as loose a knitter as I am, this probably wouldn't come out quite as huge. But I think you could also just do some math and make it smaller. I think that's pretty much it for this time, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!